Courage is a defining characteristic of the above average leader. And now is the time where courage is even more critical than ever. The inspiration for today comes from an article from the MIT Sloan Management Review, link in the description, that talks about time for leadership courage being right now. A quote from that article: "It's logical in a way. If you're responsible for the brand and financial performance of a company or institution, the incentives are to avoid conflict." So what happens is that we're incentivized to maximize shareholder dividends, and oftentimes we will then, in difficult circumstances, start to compromise our values. And that's where courage comes into play. Courage isn't merely about bold declarations, it's about being steadfast in the face of adversity. When leaders choose silence over standing up for their principles and values, they risk eroding trust and integrity. True leadership demands the bravery to act according to one's convictions, ensuring that the company actions and personal actions of those they're employed align with the professed values. Courage generally involves three things: risk, fear, not the absence of fear, and purpose. So there has to be something at risk. There needs to be fear about that risk. And then there has to be an overarching purpose that provides the impetus for continuing to move forward. So your challenge is to reflect on a recent situation when you face pressure to compromise your principles. It's probably easy to find something these days. Did you stand firm? And what were the consequences of your actions? Try to identify one area of your professional life where you've remained silent despite disagreeing with prevailing practices. This doesn't have to be in the last 3 to 6 months when things have been particularly volatile. It could be in the last 5 years. Something that stands out, that you've remained silent despite disagreeing with prevailing practices. And then commit to voicing your perspective constructively within the next week. At this point, you might be thinking, hey, isn't it Critical Thinking Thursday? Why are we talking about courage and leadership? Well, it's because critical thinking is one of the foundational pieces of being able to express your courage. Critical thinking exposes uncomfortable truths. It often leads to conclusions that challenge the status quo, pokes holes in popular opinions, or shines light on organizational blind spots. That's not always welcome. And calling it out takes courage. So critical thinking means seeing more clearly. Courage is to speak and act clearly. Courage enables action on the critical thought. You can identify a problem, spot the flawed logic, or sense the groupthink, but unless you're brave enough to voice it, it just dies in your head. Courage is what turns silent awareness into meaningful leadership. Together, they combat the fear-based decision-making. Fear clouds judgment. It's an emotional response. Courage helps to clear the fog, and critical thinking plots the path forward. When you're willing to challenge assumptions and stand firm in your uncertainty, you become not just smart, but dangerous in the best possible way. So imagine a dental team in which over-treating patients based on outdated or wrong beliefs requires an intervention. A team member finally uses critical thinking, do some research, and garner the courage to question the approach, to speak up. This is likely uncomfortable, but hopefully will spark a necessary conversation that will ultimately improve patient care and build trust amongst the team and the patients. So critical thinking helps you to see what needs to be said, and courage helps you actually say and act on it. So in times of uncertainty, courage isn't just a virtue, it's a necessity. By embodying courageous leadership, you not only uphold your values, but also pave the way for a more principled and resilient organization. Go out and be courageous. I'll see you tomorrow.